Hi everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute Halloween card. And you could really use this for anything. It doesn't have to be Halloween. You could dress it up. There's also a really fun set of witches boots, which totally reminds me of the Wizard of Oz, so I might have to do some sort of a play on that eventually. But this is a really simple design, and actually the sentiment is, if you've got it on, it is from Best Witches, which is really cute. So also the Bewitched stamp set does have a coordinated punch, but I have this kind of set up so it can be pretty simple for you. So you can see this is pretty simply a one-layer card. We have 3 strips, Melon Mambo, Bermuda Bay, and Pumpkin Pie, and then on the inside you're definitely going to need to add a white layer to this to finish it. But I have a card kit and I'm going to show you how to make it. So our base card is 11 by 4 1/4. You're going to score it at 5 1/2. We're going to just fold that so it's ready. And then we have 3 strips. Probably the most important part of this whole situation, so this is our inside panel here. The most important part is to remember that whatever you're going to do with your stripes, so this is Pumpkin, Bermuda, and Mambo. So if you decided you wanted to change it, that's completely fine. You can do it whatever way you want, but you just want to make sure that your hats coordinate with what you've created, because when I made one of these cards, I tried to do it so it was every other, so it was like dots, spiderweb dots, or whatever the pattern is that you want to use, because we do have 3 different choices here, which are really cute. This one just kind of minimizes the coloring, so these are easier to coordinate with, I guess, but you want to make sure that you color them correctly for whatever it is you're doing. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. So I'm going to do, we'll just change the design up. We'll do Mambo, then Pumpkin, then Bermuda. So you do want to, you don't have to, you could use your regular colors for this, but I'm going to use Stampin' Blends. So I have my Bermuda Bay here, Pumpkin Pie here, and then let me just grab Melon Mambo. And then the only other thing you're going to need is to make this hat dark. I used light basic black Stampin' Blend and dark smoky slate. So that's the one I have for the hat. So we'll do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just do these in order. Just going to put this over here for now, so I have just one to concentrate on at a time. And basically the only thing I usually do is I start, when I'm doing something that has some shading, I start with the dark and just add in the dark. And if for some reason you go outside the lines, it's okay. And then I kind of added just some dark spots onto my dots, just some darker areas. I'm going to bring this down just a little. Then I'm going to go back in with my light, and I typically use the brush tip when I'm blending. So bring that in just like so, and then kind of go back into the dark just to drag it in a little bit. So same with the dots. Some of the dots will be dark, some will be light. Now I did already pre-stamp these with, I actually use VersaFine ink because personally I think it's a really dark pigmented ink. It's a very deep color, which I really like to use a color that's really dark. Black anyway. You could use Memento and your Stamparatus and just stamp it more than once, but that's really all you need for that. So that's our Mambo. So I'm going to go ahead and close these up. And then we're going to do our Bermuda, since that doesn't have as much coloring. We'll do that one first. So same thing again. I'm going to go ahead and start with the dark for the Bermuda. And I actually did try this with a different color combination. I got this idea from someone on Pinterest or Google Images or something. I can't remember who it was. It's been such a long time. But they actually did theirs a little bit differently. And I was trying to figure out, well, you know what I think now that I think about it, it was on a color challenge. So I'm just moving to light. And they actually did theirs a little bit differently. So I was like, let me try and do a different color. And I originally did this, and I'm trying to think what color it was with. I feel like I did it with Granny Apple Green. And holy moly, those colors with the pie, the pumpkin pie and the Melon Mambo were just a little bit odd looking. So I ended up changing to Bermuda Bay because it was a nicer color blend. All right, so that is our Bermuda Bay hat. Okay, so now we have that one done. So for the last one, I'm actually going to start with the pumpkin pie first because I don't want to accidentally make it darker here and then have to lighten it. So I'm going to start with the pumpkin pie and then we'll do the hat portion. So I kind of did the same thing. I just picked an area that I thought I would want to do a little shading. I kind of stuck with the cobweb lines. I also did the band the same color. And you could change the band up to be different. You could do pumpkin pie and then do a green. Old olive might be kind of cool on that, but I don't know how that would look dependent on your Bermuda Bay coloring. All right, and then I'm just going to do this. Those little middle rows. And I always keep this capped, even it's not completely clicked, but I'm going to use my bullet tip because this one's a little bit worn out. But I keep it capped just in case I want to bring it back out and add a little bit of something to it. And I am using thick basic white. I pretty much only use thick basic white. I don't really use the regular white because I just find it's a little bit too lightweight of a cardstock, and some things just don't blend as well on there. So you can see I have a really nice blend here, but I want a little bit darker in a few spots. So I'm just going to go back over and just kind of retrace the web lines. I missed a teeny spot down here. And then just add a little bit, because remember, we are going to be coloring the next spot gray and black. So if this overruns into that a little bit, it will get covered up. So there is the orange portions of our hat, which were really good. I also did fool around a little bit with Cajun Craze as the darker color, light Cajun Craze, and it was just too, too kind of dark, but almost too muddy of a color. So I'm going to start with the dark smoky slate, just to give you an idea. And I'm just going to kind of go straight through, because it is still a pretty dark color, but it's just not as black as you really particularly want. So I'm just filling in a little bit of the bigger spaces with the brush tip, and then I'm going to switch to the bullet. So I'm just going to pop that so it's ready. And I'm going to use the bullet tip of the light basic black blend. I don't think I have ever yet still used the dark one because it's almost so dark. You probably could use it for these hats, but it's almost so dark you can't really see any differentiation. So, and we'll just go like that, and I'm going to come in here because we just want a little bit of shading. And I'm going to bring it over just a little bit. Same with this. Just bringing it over just a smidge, okay? And then the rest I'm going to do with the light smoky slate. I just want to make sure I was telling you the right color. So blend that in. And as you hit the edges, it will soften it a little bit. But again, it is also a black hat, so you don't want it to be too soft. You definitely want it to be darker. And I kind of start with the dark and then go back again to the light. So I'm just trying to blend the edges of those together a little bit. You find that you have a hard edge, just kind of go over it a little bit. But pretty much once the alcohol dries out of it, it really does blend nicely. And it kind of just gives it a nice shaded look. So there is your hat. So that is the final one. Now what we're going to do, let me just pop these back in here. Now we need to have our pumpkin pie, melon mambo, and Bermuda Bay ink pads. So this is the final, not the final step. We still have one more little step. So now what you're going to do is just kind of decide if you put your hats like so. I kind of thought it was fun to have little pieces of the stars peeking out from underneath, so that's what I did. So the other thing is you do have these open stars on the Best Witches, so you could use that. And then you have closed stars on Bewitching. So I'm going to just change it up and use the open stars because I didn't use those in the beginning. So I'm just same thing again. I'm going to go with Melon Mambo first and just stamp. And then I kind of rotate it a little bit. So that'll be one. Okay, done with this. You do need to clean this off in between. So I'm just going to quick swipe. Then we're going to pumpkin pie. So same thing again, kind of midline. And then you can figure you can kind of pop those in between. These do have a little bit more stars than the first one did, but no biggie. Kind of really whatever you want it to look like. And then finally, Bermuda Bay. And I'm going to start over here. There we go. And then this, they are going to get popped up. So the only other thing we have is our sentiment. All right, and I already used, if you've got it, haunt it. So I think I'll do You Put a Spell on Me. I'm just going to pull this out and just going to grab a little piece of scrap. And again, normally I would use VersaFine just because it's a nice black ink. But all I'm going to do is just ink this up with Memento, stamp it, and then I want to give that a second to dry, and we'll just assemble this. This is fairly quick. So I'm going to put a few dimensionals. Just had them here a moment ago. Here we go. A few dimensionals on the back of my hats. And we're going to just snip this other part up. I'm going to do one more here. One more here. And one more here. Okay. So I'm going to grab my base card. And I'm going to just do liquid glue. Because I find that when you have liquid glue, if you goof something up or you need to adjust it, you have that time to do so, and with the tape just doesn't work the same. All right, so one, and I kind of want a little bit of a border at the top. Again, it doesn't have to be too wide. And which way we did orange, and then this at the bottom. So now I'm going to put on the bottom, that way if I botch it up with my placement, I can adjust for the middle. So that looks like we have about the same at the top and bottom, approximately. And then I'm just going to take my middle piece and put that in between, just kind of eyeball your spacing. That looks pretty good. I feel like one of these, I think I might have overcut. So if that ever happens, all you're going to do is just flip your cardstock over. Yeah, they're just a smidge over. Just grab your scissors and pop that just like so. There you go. Now we're going to go ahead and put this on. This is going to just go in the center. Just like that. And then lastly, we're going to just remove our dimensionals and kind of place our hats. Now, the only thing you have to do is you don't want your hat to go above or outside of your card frame. Otherwise, you can put it wherever you'd like. So if maybe you had something stamped and you were like, I really want this over here, or over there, whatever it may be, just move it. Just make sure it stays within the parameters of your card. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time if you have to actually mail it. All right, so there are those. And then finally, we're going to, so I do have my piece for the center, or I should say for the center, for the inside. So I'm just going to pop that in. And I like to leave this blank only because I never know who I'm going to send it to. So if I'm going to write a really long-winded Halloween note to someone, or if it's going to be short and sweet. So I typically leave those blank. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to do our sentiment. So I'm going to just start by trimming this to the words. And I'm going to trim out the haunted. So I'm going to put this over here. And then same again, I'm just trimming right to the bottom. So this will be one. And I'm just going to go, if you've, oh my gosh, I did the same word and I said I was going to do a different one. Holy moly. Oh well. Well, I'll do a different one when I make the next card. So I thought I was using You've Put a Spell on Me, but clearly I picked the wrong ones. Now the other thing you can do with this, if you'd like to pop these up additionally, is I like to use the mini dimensionals for this. And I know what I have here is black, but since it's Halloween, you're not going to really worry so much about it being a pretty, like a clean looking card, because Halloween is kind of like a little grungy look, if you will. So we're just going to pop these on. I'm only going to use one for the middle one. Oh my goodness, Blondie strikes again. I say I'm going to use one thing and totally forgot. And the other cool part is about having more than one star here is that if you have something that you kind of wanted to spread out your words, you'll have a little bit of something in each part of it. Come on. Sometimes these minis, I think I have more trouble getting the back off. Guess I'm showing my age. All right, so let me move this out of the way, and then you can see those again. They're pretty good, but we did switch up the color palette, so at least I did stick with that. I said I was going to do, so we stick with that. So really simple card. Again, you could totally change up the color scheme if that's something that you wanted to do, which is also another way to kind of make something your own. But I do like the orange and a green and then some sort of pink. The other way you could do with this as well is to do like a purple. So you could do a dark purple. Probably Gorgeous Grape would work best. Maybe Blackberry Bliss, but that might almost be just a little bit too dark. But you could do Gorgeous Grape or Blackberry Bliss and then Pumpkin Pie. And then you could either stick with the Bermuda Bay or you could go to more of a green. So I think that would be kind of cool too. Mossy Meadow maybe, or Old Olive would be equally fun. So I thank you very much for stopping by to watch me make this card today. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. All you have to do is hit subscribe, but make sure you turn on the notification bell so when I do make a new video, you'll be able to see it. If you would like to get any of these supplies and more, you can shop in my online store, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. It's open 24/7. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching.